how to eat and live clean. It says eat 5 to 6 times a day, and you don't want to have just huge meals 3 times a day. I think that's where a lot of America suffers, is because then you're just so hungry and your blood sugar level has dropped so dramatically that you're trying to give all this to your body. Only 3 times a day is really difficult. So 3 meals and 2 or 3 snacks a day. So I try to eat 4 to 6 times a day. I try to have 2 or 3 snacks. So usually it's about 6 times a day. Drink at least 2 liters of water. Water is very, very, very important. It not only hydrates you, it makes your skin better, it keeps your system flowing better. Now, being label savvy, this is huge. You really have to read every label. And I catch myself all the time because I get in a hurry and I grab stuff and I think, okay, it says organic on it, or it says, you know, all natural or whatever, and then I get it home and it has MSG or it has some chemical in it that I have cut out. So I brought some books that I wanted to show you that have really helped me to understand more of what is in my body, what the chemicals do to my body, what it's done to society as a whole, when this started, and just knowledge is power, and I want to know now what I'm putting into my body. I want to know what my daughter is putting into her body. One of the things that I regret the most about this process is when my daughter was like 2 or 3, I started down this road eating healthy, and I knew it was something. It felt right, and I knew I was onto something huge, and I let it go because it was too hard. And I think I just wouldn't have been ready then. I was in a really depressed state, and I think a lot of it had to do with I was still eating those foods that were really making my body just go crazy. And I had fed my daughter, I had breastfed for 4 months and then had my daughter on baby formula, and that is loaded with MSG. And one of the things is, I remember my daughter was 2 months premature, and she was a very small child, and the first 4 months of breastfeeding, you know, was fine, and then I couldn't anymore. My body I got meningitis right around that time, and my body just couldn't do it anymore, so it stopped producing. And we switched her to formula. And we can have pictures, like in a 2-month period of switching her from breastfeeding to formula. And I always thought in my mind that it was because my body wasn't producing, so she wasn't gaining weight because she wasn't getting enough from me. But she doubled her weight in a 2-month period. And I mean, she went from being a very small child in 2 months to being a huge, like big cheeks, very chubby, like the 3 rolls on her legs, and people would look at us and say, "God, what are you feeding that child?" And it was just very dramatic. And I know now that it was because of all the chemicals in the formula that I was giving her, and that will forever be something that I'm sad about. But I think people need to know that. I think that the companies need to share that information and make sure that parents are aware that there are chemicals in these foods that we're giving our children, and they can have very bad reactions to them. This book, I've shown one other time, and it's very much talks about greed and corporate lust for giving the consumer more of what they want, and being able to make it cheaper by adding these chemicals that make it taste better. So this really talks a lot about it, and it's kind of a scary thriller type of, you know, sometimes you're like, this can't even be real. It's like some fictional story, but it's not. It is real. it's worth reading. And this one, for anybody that watches my channel that has a child that's sick, that has learning disabilities, that has shown symptoms of autism, or that they just learn a little bit slower than other children, or that they have a hard time controlling their emotions, and they'll even tell you, I don't know why, I can't control it. My daughter gets that way. If she eats things that are not in our plan, she still says, Mom, I feel really like I can't control my emotions. And we always can take it back and talk about what she's eaten, or what she's drank, or what she's been doing, and link it to that as a trigger for her emotional well-being. So it's huge. And I can't stress it enough to the parents who are dealing with kids that have autism or some of the autoimmune diseases that our children are suffering with. Please read this. This lady is amazing. She has also got a website, and this talks about what she went through. She went through with the same exact thing, and her child has some severe allergies to eggs and milk and soy. So this right here, me and my husband have been just devouring and actually marking in spots like it's a diary or a Bible. This one I use a lot, and it talks about food allergies and what different foods will do to our bodies, and what different allergies, like if you're allergic to something, what some of the symptoms are. Like if you're allergic, you may think that you're going to have a really strong reaction. You're going to get hives, or your throat's going to seize up, or you're going to collapse, or you're going to, get dizzy or throw up or something like that. And that's not always the fact. Sometimes, because if you're allergic to something that you're ingesting all the time, like flour, wheat, grains, and eggs, milk, then your body really just slowly starts to diminish. And if it's been something that's been in your diet since you were a little child, then you may have spent your whole life with some types of being sick, like all the time, going from one sickness to another. And my husband just went by. So you know what I mean. It can come out in very different ways, and so check it out. You may be allergic to something, or you may just be sensitive, and if you remove it from your diet completely for a month, and then if it's been something that you think really you may be sensitive to or very allergic to, make sure that you talk to a doctor. Because if you cut it out of your diet and then you include it back in 30 days, your body could have a very, very strong reaction to it. You can have anaphylactic shock, and you just don't want to put your body through that. I know that my family is very sensitive. I know my husband's very sensitive, and his comes out in anxiety and nervousness, and he gets heart palpitations. We spent 15 years going to so many doctors. There's like 3 times that he almost died, or we thought he almost died. A couple times he thought he had a heart attack, and one, like a year ago, he had a reaction to a medication that was just a simple, like for a rash, a topical rash that he had since childhood, and it was just a pill that he took, and there was no big, it's very rare that people have reactions to it, and he went into anaphylactic shock and almost died. So I mean, you got to take allergies very seriously, and once you know that you're sensitive to something, whether it be food or chemicals, you have to remove it, because it's amazing. It can come out in so many different ways. Stress, your sickness, anxiety. So I just wanted to kind of share some of the things that have helped me, and some of my motivations for breaking that cycle. Once you get the certain foods out of your diet, the cravings for those foods will stop. It just takes a little bit of time. I hope you all have a great day.